I love it.
Viscerally hate it.
I was going to say I
Hello.
hated the word marinating.
I hope we're
Hello.
spicy.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I just decided to go live and,
Oh.
we'll see what happens.
Hello.
Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live from the Apocalypse. My name is Will. I'm one of the GMs and the organizers here. I run Class Reunion, which you are currently watching. Welcome.
Woo.
Class Reunion. No, let's not start with that. Live from the Apocalypse is a channel here on twitch.tv that you are currently watching where we raise money for we raise money for charitable causes, nonprofits, aid organizations, things like that by playing TTRPGs and sometimes other things, but mostly TTRPGs. This is the middle of our Dungeons and Dragons week. Not last night. Sunday night was Veilbreakers, which is a 5e game about heroes who tried to save the world and died and are now coming back to life to get a second chance. Class Reunion is about 4 high school students from Ohio who have been transported into a fantasy world, separated, and are now reconnected 10 years later. They are currently inside of a necropolis trying to find the dead body of their friend and classmate and mentor and idol and personal hero, Ryan Beckinsale. Did you say cum? That's weird.
He'd like that, wouldn't he?
Jesus.
Wednesday, which is tomorrow night, is Mercy of Time, which is another 5e D&D game, which is a lot of fun. I get to play in that. You should check it out. But Class Reunion, if you want to know more about what that is, you can it has its own command. You can just do !Class Reunion, and it'll tell you all about it. There it is. If you like what you see here, we are raising money for Planned Parenthood. So instead of doing the normal stuff where you give us money, sub to us, give us bits, whatever, instead of doing that, we ask that you take the $5 or the $6 or the $1 or really whatever you want and give it to Planned Parenthood instead. If you do that, the McElroy brothers will scream and interrupt us. If you subscribe to us, Brennan Lee Mulligan kills a dog. So choose wisely. If you do subscribe to us, we are very grateful for it. Everything we make on this channel goes to a good cause. So even when Twitch pays us out, it all goes to the same place. But Twitch takes half off the top, at least, of every subscription. So why not just give them your money directly? Because they're great. They're doing important things. And we're
use your Prime sub.
Or use your Prime sub. If you got a Prime sub, throw it at us. It's free real estate. It's not free real estate, but you're already paying for it.
It's free real estate.
Yeah. So, bypass Amazon. And okay, listen, this slander will not stand. I'll show you my wallet right now. It is very empty.
I was gonna say them's fighting words.
Yeah. So
Super
that is
like if you put $1 into it, the dollar just disappears.
It's true. Negative money.
It goes right into debt.
Mhm.
Right into debt.
Yep.
Ooh.
My wallet is a portal to my debt.
Straight to your landlord.
Jesus.
Too real.
So real.
Rent
That
too damn
is
high.
our rent is too damn high. That is our whole
Damn high.
thing here. The rent is too damn high, but we are free. So you feel free to watch us, and if you like what you see here, go throw some money at Planned Parenthood, please.
Mhm.
In all of that being said, we're just gonna go ahead and probably get started. I think. How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody good? Everybody good to go? We had some excitement.
Feeling great, DM. Ready to play. Time for
Super
D&D.
ready.
Great.
Ready to
great.
escape these cocoons.
Mhm.
Well, let's do
I
some
have-
I
quick
wanna see what I-
character.
Look like.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, you want to see what you look
Oh,
like?
hey, how are ya? I'm Wayne Hovacek. I'm the greatest Gritsky player of all time. If you haven't heard of Gritsky, where you been? What are you, under a rock or something? My one goal in life was to be, the greatest champion of all time, and I succeeded at that. So I'm kind of just cruising now. I took on the role as super secret agent, and we're on a super secret agent mission. And I'm very excited to do so with these people.
I was gonna say you became the world's greatest in like the 3rd session, so it's all
Yeah.
downhill from here, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a pretty
think it-
quick session.
Was it not session 1?
It's like session 2.
Well,
I think it was
might have
session
been.
2.
Yeah.
Oh.
Might have been. Well, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, you take the trip up to the top of the mountain and then you think there's only one way down, and then Wayne just starts walking up steps that weren't there a moment ago. You're like,
That
how's
sounds
this guy
legit.
doing it?
Where'd they come from?
Exactly like
What do
that.
you mean? It's always there.
If we named our episodes Kakuna Matata would be the name of this one. We don't do that. Not this show, anyway. But maybe we should start. That's a very good one.
Good.
Bug hug. Gross.
And also you're Corey. Your real name is Corey.
And I'm Corey.
Good. We can just go in the L shape. Julia, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Julia, local Delaware cryptid. I play Kelly Violet, who is the probably mostly dead highwayman of the group. She's taking all of this whole necropolis thing very personally, trying not to freak out about it. Probably will. We'll see. Also, sometimes I can electrocute things.
That's very fair. Also, I think you can only be a local cryptid if they live in Delaware.
That's not true. I'm local to Delaware, and I'm a cryptid.
Yes, that's fair.
Those are
Yes, that's
separate. Those are separate delineations.
All right. Fair enough. I'll allow it. Raph.
I'm actually wearing a cryptid-related shirt for Delaware now. This is related
A
to
bear?
the bear that we had.
That's
We had
not
a-
a
We
Julia,
had a
that's not
bear.
cryptid.
I
No,
have
you don't
so many
understand.
questions.
You don't understand. We had a bear come down from Pennsylvania, and it was the only thing on the news for like a week and a half because nobody could find it. And then it like escaped police capture twice, and then it just
Good for
disappeared.
bear.
It was over
Alright.
by Silesianum, and then it disappeared up near Appoquinimec. We don't know where it is.
Listen, once again, I love
Some
that for the bear.
northern
Not a
names.
cryptid. That is not what a cryptid
This
is.
is sneaky bear.
That's just a bear.
It's just a solid bear, dude.
Doing his job.
Like A
Good
plus
job.
bear, but
Yeah.
it's not oversold.
Killer bear,
A-
dude. Sweet bear, bro.
Yeah.
Sweet bear.
I appreciate that bear, but I'm not sure
Hell
it's a
yeah.
cryptid. You okay? Okay, you're muted, so it's fine. Do what you need to do. Raph, you wanna go next?
Hello, my name is Raph, and I play Max Miller. I'm the oldest of the group, the biggest, the strongest, the tallest, and the best. I'm a barbarian, I guess. I sometimes get angry and turn into a monster, and that's fine. But some fun facts about me, I guess. I am being stalked by like 1,000 crows, ravens specifically. So I don't know what they want, and they burst out of my chest a
They want
couple
murder.
hours
They
ago.
want murder. We know what they want.
Well, you know, I don't speak bird, so I can't really tell you.
They have told you that, though.
You know what? They told Hunter that. They were saying they Hunter wants to murder. I don't know.
Touche. There was some off-stream chat earlier about you potentially multi-classing into druid, at which
Mhm.
point you would be able to talk to the birds, and also you could be
What if I
a
wild
bar.
shape into a raven and join
that.
their crew?
That could be
You
amazing.
could also be a bar bear, Ian,
Sick.
And then escape the
Oh my
police.
God.
and then escape the police.
Police.
It's all coming together. And JD, would you tell us a little bit about yourself and Hunter, please?
Yep. I am JD. I am the local New England person, not a cryptid, sadly. Have not earned that title. And I play Hunter, who is a non-binary ranger. They have lived a very kind of sheltered existence in the Heartwood up until reuniting with all of their friends. They have probably experienced more awful things in like the past week of reuniting with their friends than they had experienced in the last 10 years. And they have bonded with the spirit of Ak in the woods, so they have bark-like skin, and they have a horse made of thorns named Callisto.
Which is around sometimes. and other times
Yes.
is not. Yeah, that is everybody. My name is, I already said, my name is Will. I'm one of the GMs and the organizers, and I play everybody else, I guess. Speaking of everybody else, last time when we ended our session, you were in Central Slum, which is the largest settlement in the slums of Barrow. Barrow being this enormous, tall, wrought iron necropolis that is in a valley where the sun never shines. It is always foggy and the sun does not penetrate to touch the earth. So you repelled deep into the valley. Some of you repelled faster than others and took a lot of damage as a result.
On purpose.
On purpose. Yeah. One of you did it on purpose.
Yes. One of us did not.
Yeah. And from there, you entered the necropolis through a secret entrance that is not well known and is also very dangerous. Connected with your contact and guide, Eddie Monahan, who drove you in a magic-powered mechanical contraption called a meat wagon. Very much resembled Earth cars, which you're all familiar with, being from Ohio.
Ohio Earth.
Ohio, comma,
Ohio,
Earth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Avalon.
When you, in the slum, you explored a little bit, almost had a run-in with a local gang, it seemed like, called the Hanged Men. Managed to avoid that altercation. And then Eddie Monahan took you to an establishment called Madame Siduri's, which you discovered was a brothel. You spent the night there in safety.
What?
Wild.
Max
I
had
know.
no idea.
I absolutely 100% believe that.
Yeah, well, Max was kind of going through a lot when we got there.
hmm
That's
Yeah.
fair.
That's fair.
Max is on
That
board
is
with
true.
that.
Oh yeah, birds came out of Max's skin. I forgot to mention that
Yeah.
little detail. A lot of
Yeah.
ravens came out of Max's skin.
Exploded out.
Yeah.
Exploded.
Yeah. Which was, a thing.
Just
Fun.
another Tuesday.
Just another Tuesday for Max Miller. In said brothel, you spent the night, you woke up. Eddie said he was going to venture out and try to find some contacts of his who could help you get into the upper levels of the necropolis where the undead actually are so that you can begin your search for Ryan's body. But he never returned. Instead, his friend Mira, who worked the front desk when you arrived, burst in, told you that he was in trouble, that they had grabbed him, and that you had to come quick. She led you back to the marketplace of Central Slum, where you were ambushed. I mean, lightly ambushed. It wasn't a very good ambush.
No.
Standing
You
in the middle of
fought?
the square.
I don't know. We got our ass beat by
got
a
you.
child, so.
You
That's
guys.
true.
Yeah, that was problematic.
I
That
got
was
my
a
ass beat
blow
by a
to
full-grown man.
self-esteem.
You fought a child with a lot of ice magic who punched you a lot and was very fast
Mhm.
and was also huffing some kind of blue energy substance out of a canister. A very hairy man and a scarred man in a long red coat who pulled out 2 revolvers and just started blasting.
Yep.
Started blasting.
Just started blasting. It was not a difficult fight for the most part, except that kid just kind of,
Slippery boy.
just kind of wiped the floor with all of you for a little while there. Until you were able to until he ran away. And then you threw some axes into his back and non-lethal.
Non-lethally.
You did
Thank
specify.
you.
You did specify. And then you left him there. Along with the
Took
other
my
2.
axes though.
You took your axes. You also took a bunch of stuff that they had on them. And we'll get to that. And then you told the residents of the slum that there were a couple members of the Hanged Men and they could do whatever they wanted with them.
Karma's a bitch.
We're
Yep.
bad people.
Don't be a dick.
Oh my
No,
God.
that's justice. That's slum justice right there.
That is slum justice. The night before that had happened, Hunter, during their watch, had a encounter with the titular Madame Siduri, who turned out to be a sort of half woman, half spider person. Spider body, human torso, kind of like a centaur with extremely spider-like facial features, who said a lot of cryptic things, but ultimately offered to help you get to the upper levels of the city. And upon returning from your encounter with the hanged men, who did inform you that they had sold Eddie Monahan, presumably to the undead, though you never found out for sure. Upon returning to Madame Siduri's, she enacted the plan that she had offered to do, which was to spin you all up into web cocoons. And she warned you at the as she was doing so that you'd have to be careful, because while your body would heal itself, healing magic would not.
Oh, right.
Yep.
And that was where we left it. So, it is very dark and oppressive. You all felt your pulses starting to slow down and a chill settle over you. But you never lost consciousness. You just sort of felt these parts of yourself become more closed off, less sensitive. And you're not sure how much time has passed. It doesn't feel like very much, but at the same time, as the casings covering you split open and you start to move for the first time in however long, your bodies feel stiff and sore, and it's harder than you expect. Everything feels a little bit less. Sensation feels a little bit less. But at the same time, your senses are much sharper. And as you extract yourselves, as Madame Siduri finishes using the sharp edge of her legs to slice open your cocoons and let you out, you see each other in the soft light cast by the pool in the center of Madame Siduri's chambers. You're surrounded by cushions and pillows. That well that's giving off the light sits in the center. There's a small stage towards the back end of the room still. And of course, the ceilings are covered in webs to the point where you can't see what the ceilings actually look like. But you see each other and you recognize each other, except your skin is the chalk white, waxy texture of a corpse. The lips around your mouth have your lips around your mouths are cracked. Like, not cracked as in chapped, but there are lines around the outside of your mouth. Your lips themselves have faded to a gray-black color. Your eyes are deeply sunken, and the pupils of your eyes have turned red.
Spooky.
It's pupils, right? That's the colored part?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
No.
No, iris.
Iris.
Iris? Okay, cool. Take that again. The irises of your eyes have turned red. And yeah, you're not breathing. You don't feel your pulse. None of that.
Can I turn to the madam, to the grand spider lady, and have her confirm that this is temporary before I freak out, before my whole everything freaks out?
She is standing there. Obviously, she was the one who cut you out.
Mm-hmm.
She is a very universally a pale color, but she is almost gossamer. There's like a shine to the surface of her body. It almost sparkles. The spider half of her body is about the size of a horse, roughly. The human half, from the torso up, is just regular, sort of human-sized. And then her face is, once again, just the face of a spider, essentially. Eyes and mandibles and all. And you're asking her if this is temporary?
I'm asking her, like, how temporary it is, like, how long we have to be this way. Trying not to freak out about it, trying not to be obvious about the fact that Kelly's legitimately freaking out about it, but she's kind of, like, trying to phrase it like, well, what's our time limit? So she
Fear
will...
not.
Yeah.
Fear not, dear. It will fade in time. How long depends.
On...
Well, you have ample time. Weeks at the very least. Perhaps a year at the longest, but I can reverse it sooner. If that's a problem.
Nah.
It will be a problem in the fact that I don't think we can leave here and go about the rest of the things we have to do in the regular world like this. So before we leave, we will definitely need to come see you again.
Yes, simply return to me and I will take care of it.
You are truly kind. And Kelly kind of just like goes into the corner and is just like just like having a moment.
Can I use a
You
divine sense as well?
You can, yes.
Ooh.
I want to see if we're actually undead.
you use your divine sense, and yes, as far as you can tell, you are undead. With all that entails, which is actually not a whole lot, you are immune to poison and exhaustion.
Oh.
Really?
Nice.
Yes.
Cool.
What you do feel just starting is a hunger, a gnawing hunger for something. You're not sure what.
We gotta go get some clemp soup.
No.
The salt
DM.
broth?
Yeah,
Mhm.
the salt broth that almost killed
Broth.
you.
Do
DM,
you
I am
mean
curious.
soup that Clem makes or Clem soup?
Clump soup. I like it.
I don't know anymore.
I am curious, DM. How is my symbiote responding to this whole thing?
As far as you can tell, fine.
Okay.
You feel very normal. Aside from the obvious physiological changes, you still feel that second presence that
Okay.
you always feel. It never uses words, but you feel connected still. entirely unlike the way you did in the anti-magic zone right outside of Barrow.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same for each of you. If you are connected to anything else, Wayne, aside from the absolutely embarrassing performance you delivered yesterday when that child knocked you over, you feel very self-assured and confident.
Yeah, that's gonna make the highlight reel. You're gonna see that one on America's Funniest Home Videos for sure.
Absolutely.
Anun's Funniest Home Videos.
Listen, it's a good time.
AFV.
America's Funniest Home Videos out 1989.
I would
I think it
think
was.
so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No.
It probably was, and it was probably when what's his name from Full House was still hosting.
November 26th, 1989. Just missed it.
What?
Oh,
Damn.
So close.
I have a great idea. There's like sports clips of people messing up. I think it'd be really funny.
I mean, add that to the list, right? You
Yeah.
invented Gritsky, you're going to invent Noon's Funniest Home Videos. You don't even have to change
For
the
sure.
acronym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
AFV. So you still feel that connection inside of you. Madame Siduri sort of tense her hands, and she kind of clicks the very sharply tipped ends of her fingers together, a little nervously maybe, and says, "You may want to return regardless."
Why?
Well, you, by all appearances, all detections, are undead now. But you'll have to do more than that to fit in on the upper levels.
What do you mean?
Do any of you speak Marif? And Marif, you would be aware, is the language of the dead.
never really figured out what we were doing with the whole languages. I've got languages like slots, but none of the
I
was
languages
gonna say-
Spanish.
exist.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it would make sense if you wanted to say Kelly knows it. I don't know where anyone else would have really learned it. So,
A little like Quebec French. It took a year of Spanish.
Like, como está?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that it?
that's not, no,
Oh.
no, that's not.
That's all
not
I know how to say.
I had a feeling. I wanted to propose a solution, but I understand it may be an uncomfortable one.
More uncomfortable than being in a cocoon for like
Perhaps.
8 hours. Oh.
I thought perhaps I would send some of my children along with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Are they bugs? Because I'm being followed by birds, so
Mm.
they might get eaten.
Well, that wouldn't be an issue. They'd be
Oh.
inside you. She stretches up to
Not
her
the first
full
time.
height and kind of extends one arm up, and down from the webbing above comes a trail of tiny little black bodies. And she lowers herself back down and holds her hand out for you all to observe these little spiders that are about the size of regular earth spiders scurry
So, like-
down her hand and kind of collect in her palm. No, not Australian spiders.
Not the kind that
I
eat
grew up with.
lions.
Yeah, no, very small ones. They scuttle down her hand and perch on her palm. 4 of them line up on the edges of her fingers, and you can get a good look at them. They have long, spindly legs, and they are black in the light cast by the fountain. But as you look closer, they don't exactly seem to be solid. They almost appear to be more liquid in the way that their bodies shift as they move around. And as you look closer at them, you see almost the night sky reflected in their bodies.
Hmm.
They're called dream weavers. They would enter your bodies through your ear canals and bond with your minds.
To do what?
You'd be able to speak, read, and write Marif, along with a few other benefits. Their energy is not without limit, but you would be able to read others' thoughts. And also disguise your appearances for a time.
Okay.
I'm willing.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. I mean, no offense, but it's kind of gross, but I'm totally into it.
Very well.
Kelly's still just in the corner, just like, oh my god. Then she's just like, yeah. Okay.
Step
This is
forward
fine.
and take them.
Oh.
How
You
many?
hold your hands out and eat one spider for each of you scuttles into your palm. She says, press it to your ear. And you do so. You cup your hand around your ear. And it's kind of that feeling you get at the beach or at a swimming pool sometimes when you get water stuck in your
Oh.
ear
Hmm.
as they slither in to your skulls. And you feel a very strange sensation wash over your body in the aftermath of that.
Oh. Was the Wrath of Khan out by the time we were in high school? Because I feel like that's all.
89? I don't know. Well, no, 99, right? That's what we said? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrath of Khan was out in 99.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is just. Yeah, that was 82. Oh, definitely. We're losing
Yeah.
our fucking minds. Kelly's just like,
Mhm.
this is just like the Wrath of Khan.
Hunter, this is very strange for you because you now have two symbiotes.
I was just thinking that. I was like, I got something in my chest, I've got something in my brain.
You're just collecting them, getting the whole set. You're basically a hotel at this point.
You're stopping by
mm.
every McDonald's.
I want to look at Max and try and think of what he's thinking.
It's gonna be like.
But it's like super obvious. I'm like,
They will, she goes on and she says, they will feed and recharge on your dreams while you sleep.
Okay.
Mechanically speaking,
Oh.
they have 4 charges. You can spend 2 charges to use detect thoughts. You can spend 1 charge to use disguise self. And they regain 1d4 charges after you sleep.
Detect thoughts. The two that goes into base level and deeper, like full spell, or
Yes.
are we talking? Okay, so
It is. But keep in mind that detect thoughts, whether you succeed or fail, the other being is aware of what you have tried to
Right.
do.
I turn into Wayne.
You can do that. You can disguise yourself as Wayne if you want to. I don't know, Wayne, do you actually want to try to read Max's thoughts?
no. I think it's like Wayne tries to like really think really hard, but his heart's not into it, so he just stares
Yeah.
really hard at Max. I could
Maybe-
probably
I think
do
you
some
start-
thinking.
What?
Maybe you
what?
start to reach out you start to reach out and there's just like not much there.
Oh,
Like I don't
So
hear anything, but I don't really think about it that hard. I'm like, must be working. Seems like it's working fine.
So you now have Dreamweavers in you. Madame Siduri says,
Gross.
you are welcome to travel with my children for as long as you want. If you would like to leave them behind when your business is concluded, you will have to return to me once again.
But we can keep them.
Of course.
Can you read our thoughts though? Now? What am I thinking of?
I feel like she's always been able to read our thoughts. That's why she
I
picked
can.
Hunter.
I cannot.
Inside check.
Yeah, feel free.
Lying to me, DM.
Sounds good to me.
It's a 15.
Yeah, she does not seem entirely truthful.
Good to know.
You know, I would hate to separate a child from its mother for the long term, so when we come back to get all of this dealt with, we'll revisit the topic. Oh my god.
Well, here they cannot feed nearly as much as they need to. Out there with you, with a bond, they will live far richer and more fulfilling lives. Every mother just wants a better future for her children.
That makes perfect sense.
At some point, you gotta leave the nest or the web.
Do they have names? What's mine named?
They do not. At this point, you are essentially one.
Name mine Better Ryan.
I always thought you wanted a piece of Ryan inside you. I'm glad that you finally got that.
No,
Dream
that,
fulfilled
dude, no,
there, Max.
that. He's just better.
Sure. Bigger, badder,
Okay.
better.
Oof.
Yeah. So
On
you
that-
now are full of spiders. Congratulations.
Sick.
Congratulations to the
Oh,
new
great.
parents.
Full of spiders.
As far as your transformation is concerned, you are essentially under the effects of the spell. Whoops.
Goopsie.
Forgot
What
to
have
have
you-
another tab open.
What have you
Ah,
done?
What's
Stop
the
doing this.
end?
Exposing yourself.
Secret.
I know. Using D&D Beyond. Don't tell on me. I don't actually know all of this by heart. You are essentially under the effect of Arcanist's magic aura, the spell.
Nice.
Cool.
D&D Beyond I go.
Basically what it means is you can hide the aura of one item. So basically one target. And you can also change the way that you detect as creature types. So, for example, a paladin's divine sense, you will show up as undead rather than human.
Cool.
And then disguise self, obviously, you can use to. Obviously, with not divine sense, disguise self, you can use to further hide your appearance, make yourself not. Because right now you just look like yourselves, but dead. You can hide the way your gear looks. You can change your whole appearance, whatever you want. But keep in mind the limitations of disguise self. If anybody interacts with it, it'll be very obvious that it's not real. It's a first level spell. So, and it lasts
I
for
turn my
an
jersey
hour.
inside out, and instead of my hair being back, it's like forward over one of my eyes.
You use
Inside of the jersey is
disguise. You're saying you use disguise self to turn your jersey inside out.
No, he's
Okay,
just
all right.
actively
I thought that's
taking
what you
off
were
his
saying.
shirt.
Flip it.
I thought that's what you were saying. That makes more sense.
He's giving the madam a show.
Yeah. Clearly. Why would it
Got 18 strength.
open?
Looking good.
I was like, oh man, I don't have a Firefox tab open. That's why it opened in the Roll20 window. But I do have a Firefox tab open. Why would it open in the Roll20
You
window?
fool!
I know. That's on me. Anyway, she kind of does another half step around all of you and leans in, studying you as she does so. She says, "You've acquired some objects of power."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not those. Dear. I'm sensing
Are you sure?
the smell of magic that was not here before.
Yeah.
I got some magic whippets, I think. I don't know exactly what they do. I said the kid, he like broke it and then it was like, and then like magic stuff happened. So, can you tell me if this is safe?
Not familiar with the term whippet. Perhaps if you...
It's like a divine magic kind of term. I read it in a book somewhere.
I see.
It's a magic book.
I would be happy
Yeah.
to take a closer look at your acquisitions, if you'd so like. I am
Yeah.
versed in such things.
Are you gonna put spiders in them?
Maybe.
Okay.
No, only kidding.
Oh.
At this point, Kelly's just like, sure, whatever, and she's gonna hold up the scroll that she confiscated from the unconscious hanged man.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
I'll
will.
hold up
She will.
my items.
She will go through the items that we sort of hand waved you're acquiring after the altercation you had with the hanged men. You took a bunch of stuff from them. She looks at the rolled up. So what you have is a glass vial, essentially, that contains a translucent material that's rolled up into a cylinder, a tight cylinder. You can sort of see some vague light dancing across it if you look very closely at it, but otherwise it is very transparent. And she holds it up and examines it. She says, "Ah, yes, this is why I assume you're familiar with scroll skin."
I've handled them before.
This particular one would give you the ability to call down lightning.
Definitely a fan of that these days.
She will also look at our capsules that you have, which normally our capsules are glass spheres, or they resemble glass spheres, although what they're actually made of is condensed magic, a thin barrier of condensed magic that contains a finished spell inside of it. So essentially a potion, but if you break it, the motes of magic settle on you, or you inhale them, or whatever, and the spell takes effect. So instead of drinking it, it's basically you break it. Normally, our capsules that you have seen in the outside world, which Barrow's whole thing obviously is that the undead are mass producing these magic items and making them uniform and accessible, though not less expensive in a meaningful way, just more convenient to acquire. It's the difference between buying one of these at a marketplace from a shelf that contains hundreds of them and paying a alchemist in a forest hut to make one for you and have it take at least a day, maybe longer. So the convenience is the big draw here. These are capsules, though, when you've seen them out in marketplaces in the rest of Anun, in the rest of the Kingdom of Aloran, are extremely uniform. They almost always look identical, at least on the outside. That perfect spherical shape. These are rougher. These are not perfect spheres. They have like weird bulges in some places. One of them is more of a triangle shape than a sphere, more of like a pyramid shape than a sphere. Not in a way where it was like intentional, more in a way where someone was like, it's good enough. One of them, the one that has a weird bulge on one side, contains a swirling white powder. And she examines it and says, yeah, this one will improve your grip and your ability to scale obstacles. This other one, she holds up between the tips of two clawed fingers, the more pyramid-shaped one, which contains a green glow, will grow you to enormous sizes. And then, are you showing her the glove, or are you...
Oh, death. Yeah.
Okay, cool. The glove is also similar to the R capsules. It looks almost half finished. You've seen it in action, so you know it's fully functional, but it's almost like the components are exposed. You can almost see the circuitry, for lack of a better term, of the magic that flows through it. Like it was made and it worked, and then nobody bothered to put a cover on it. But when you put the glove on, it essentially blends into your body. It's basically sort of absorbed into your skin. And you can sort of see vague, very, very faint outlines of that circuitry on the surface of your skin, if you look very closely. And she says, I imagine you've seen this in action, but it will manifest a spectral blade.
Cool.
That coat, she looks at you, Hunter.
Hunter
It's very
looks at the
interesting.
coat and is just like, oh yeah, I am wearing this.
It is essentially a red leather. It's not quite the length of a duster. It falls to about the backs of your knees. It is the nicest thing you've seen since getting to Central Slum, probably.
It's also probably the nicest thing that Hunter has worn since they ended up here.
Probably. On the back, now that you've gotten a better look at it, it is just a red leather coat that has black trim around it. But on the back, there's a complex stitching pattern set into the middle of it, which, if you relax your eyes, almost looks like a smiling face. The very, very rough approximation of one. Like if you look closely at it, you can see, oh, those could be eyes, that could be a mouth, I guess. But she looks at it, circles you, and says, this one is difficult. It holds a natural resistance to magic. That much I'm sure of. I believe it will protect you from lightning of any type. And perhaps bolster you with it, even.
Hunter just kind of like looks back down at the coat and is like, that's amazing. I mean, is everyone else sure that they don't want it? I mean, it sounds really
You
cool.
look so good in it.
Thank
It
you,
does
Wayne.
suit you.
The red
Thanks,
is
Max.
the red is a nice color. Also, It's good to not be electrocuted.
That's a really good
Also-
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me, you don't want to be electrocuted.
Or maybe you do with the coat, so
I also realized that I read this entry wrong.
What have you done?
You get a +1. You get a +1 bonus to armor class, so it is essentially leather armor +1, and then you also get that +1 to saving throws against spells and other magical effects.
cool.
Nice.
Hey.
Yeah.
There you go.
Take the homeschool kid out to Hot Topic.
Yeah.
You're gonna look great.
Exactly. Also, only Hunter's girlfriend was homeschooled.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hunter.
Yeah, that's
Hunter,
true.
unfortunately, but fortunately, was going to school with all of you.
You know,
Um,
fun times.
Fun times at Avalon High.
Mm-hmm.
Love that show.
She lastly, she looks. You hold the canister out to her, Wayne.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Are these
The
drugs safe to take?
canister.
Are these the okay kind of drugs or like the bad kind of drugs?
Are those like fun drugs or
Too fun.
The canister is sort of patched together, welded almost haphazardly, but the construction is solid. It doesn't have a vent at one end so much as a part that you can rip off. Almost more of a soda can construction than like a valve, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But it is covered in a thin layer of condensation, and it feels deeply cold to your touch.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks at it, and it doesn't even take a second. She shakes her head almost sadly and says, "You said you saw a child inhaling this?"
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
It's all too common, I'm afraid. It's elemether, which is a colloquialism for the elemental energy that the undead harvest to power their machines and creations. It's a source of almost unlimited, as far as anyone knows, magical power. But to ingest it or inhale it into one's body carries a heavy cost. It will make you much, much faster for a time. Improve your reaction time, your ability to process what's going on around you. It will increase the power of your magic, should you possess any. And it will change your magic as well. Shape it to its plane of origin. To look at this one, I would guess probably the elemental plane of water.
water and ice?
However,
Oh.
if you use it even once and then stop, your body will begin to break itself down. You'll crave it. It's not uncommon for addicts who can't get their hands on it to die in a few days.
Angel dust, but worse.
Even after just one use? Can't
even
cold
after
turkey.
just one use. Some are stronger than others. You might be fine for a few, once, twice, 3 times even, perhaps. As long as you maintain a steady supply, you won't suffer. But you'll never be able to stop again. I would caution you only to use it in the gravest emergency.
Yeah. All right. Good to know. I'll hold on to that one.
Jeez.
Max, I don't think you should try that. I can see those wheels turning. I don't want that to happen to you.
Mechanically,
Not the
so
one
you're
carrying.
aware before you use
Okay.
it, the effects of it are you are hasted for 1 minute,
Mhm.
and all of the DCs for spells you cast are increased by +1 for 24 hours.
Cool.
Any spell you cast that has an energy typing, radiant, necrotic, fire, lightning, any of that changes to whatever type it is in the canister. In this case, you're very confident that that is cold.
Mhm.
And that is it. Oh, it does use the 5e addiction rules, which means that after you use it, you have to make a con save. If you pass, you suffer no ill effects. If you fail, you experience withdrawal, which varies depending on the rating of the addictive level of the drug. I'm not going to tell you what that is.
Ugh.
Damn, why are you telling us this?
Stressful.
Sounds so fun.
I mean, I want you to know what it can do for planning purposes if you do decide to use it.
Should the
Thank you
need
for all of
rot.
that information. I will
Mhm.
do my best to treat this safely and not let Max have it.
We trust you, Wayne.
I wouldn't use it. I don't do magic.
That's a fair
That is
point.
true.
That is a fair point.
So
it would
honestly,
mostly
the
be
safest
haste for you.
person to hold it would really be me.
No.
So it's kind of like if I pull this tab away, it'll be like a blast of elemether.
Yes.
Good to know. Good to know.
Undiluted elemental energy meant to power a device.
Hey, the more you know. All right.
Well, I hope all of that is helpful.
Ooh, do have a couple questions though, if you don't mind. You've been
I can do my best to answer them.
you've been very helpful. Why? I'm other than maybe you want the undead dead. Anyway.
As I told your friend, I have been here for a very long time. And I would like to leave.
Hmm. Okay. That's fair.
Can't fault you for that.
Can't fault you for that.
I
do-
will confess a vested interest in what you will do. But of course, we cannot speak of that, or else we risk it not coming to pass.
Don't you hate when that happens?
What?
It
Why
would
not?
cause some sort of paradox, Max. It's fine.
Paradox.
We'll explain it to you later.
Anyway, okay, yeah, I got it. I understand.
Okay.
Anyway, second question. you've made us somewhat undead. You have these weird spider creatures.
They're not weird.
Hey, mine has a name, all right? I'm setting some baselines here. They are definitely weird. But so you seem to know some cool stuff, I guess. Do you know anything about uh the old gods, specifically the Raven Queen, her domain, her interest, her wants, her needs, potentially?
Interesting. Well, they're not gods, of course.
Oh,
In fact, they come from the same place I do.
Oh,
what?
does
Okay.
that? Are you this big because of this world, or do you get that big over there too? Sorry, that was rude.
Concepts of physical space mean much less in the bright. In the same way that there is a plane of fire and a plane of water, the bright is a place of pure magic. Shaped by the thoughts and the feelings and the dreams and the whims of the beings it touches.
So those statuettes and religions and whatever old gods that aren't gods that came here with you, or at least from your world, they're real?
They were believed to be gods, a thought that they embraced and encouraged, though I don't think that they quite understood what it meant.
Do you know them?
Can you call them up? Can you ask them what's going on?
What the
I knew
fuck?
them a very, very, very long time ago. They are a family of sorts, not in the way you might have a family, or even in the way that I have my children. But it's complicated, but they were born together, bonded and connected.
What do they want?
But
Do you know?
well, discovering this world changed them. In the bright, the only limitation is what you can imagine, what you can shape. The connection that they brought with them into this world when they left the bright behind made them, well, godlike. But they don't think the way you do. There's no morality in their thought process. They're not capable of it. That is a wholly human construct. You see, there's nothing inherently good or bad about them. They simply exist and do as they wish to. Even if that results in the death of all of your people.
And they don't want to go back like you do.
Oh no. No, they find this place amusing, interesting. While they never quite grasped empathy or morality, they were entertained here in a way the bright could not. It would be more accurate, perhaps, to say that they are obsessed with you. They want to understand you, inside and out. But they never will. They simply can't.
That's fucked up.
As you say.
But so, like, you're here, you're somewhere. So, is the Raven Queen, right? Like, she's tangible somewhere. She is somewhere.
Yeah, she's tangerine.
She,
She's a tangerine somewhere.
I think
Madame Zaduri takes a step back, almost surprised, and says, "Is she?"
recently
Oh!
she seems to be. Yes. Since we're just
Since we're chit chatting, I walk over to her and I pull out
Jesus.
the lock of silver hair.
Oh my god.
Does this look familiar to you?
Do you remember this bitch? By the color of her wig.
I mean,
Does it smell like a bitch to you?
it wouldn't matter if it did. Their appearance, their form, is not fixed the way that yours is. Or even the way mine is. I lived in the Bright. It would be more accurate to say they are the Bright. Bits and pieces that have escaped. And now are back, apparently. How interesting.
Fascinating, truly. It's an ongoing problem. But we've got a lot of those right now.
True.
Suppose you do have more pressing matters to attend to.
Let's go find worse.
Speaking
Ryan.
of, I'm assuming you don't know where to go next.
No idea. Kind of playing it
Oh.
by ear.
Right?
Up towards the towers where they have most of their more involved and specialized experiments, and if they were going to take Ryan anywhere, they would take him there.
Unless you know where they took him?
I don't. It could be any number of places. It depends whose hands he ended up in.
And there's no way for you to find that through the threads?
But once again, spoilers.
Can't be
And out.
we can't be asking those kinds of questions. It's we saw a merchant when we were leaving the area where Ryan's body last was. It's most likely that he's the one who interfered and collected. He was already in Calderon City. We would have to start there where the merchants come in and out. And then from there we would find out which spire he's been taken to, which factory, which lab, which area of magic interest he had. Unless they took him somewhere where they harvest secrets, but I don't know where that is.
The Overcity is a vast place. Unfortunately. I can help you get there, as I have and will continue to do. But I'm afraid once you're there, you'll be beyond even my reach.
Well, we better get started.
And that's okay that we're beyond your reach. I mean, we have your children with us.
I suppose, in a way, we are connected.
Lovely.
Look at the time.
Sure.
We should go.
Hate it.
There is a place in the slums simply called the Spire. More of a fanciful title than fact. It is a enormous stalactite that connects the upper city, the lowest level of the upper city, to the slum floor. From there, you should be able to take transportation into the Overcity, being as you are now. You'll have to lie, but not so convincingly, now that you're one of them. They won't turn away four of their own.
Like that descriptor.
I'd start thinking about embracing it, dear.
For now. But not forever.
Of course not.
All right, let's just go.
Let's
This isn't
go.
getting any better. Let's just go.
We'll see you again.
Oh, we most definitely have to. I'm not staying like this forever. I refuse.
I have given my children the location you seek. They'll be able to guide you there.
Our
You are
HUD gets
too kind.
updated
Though
with
you
quest
may-
marker.
You may want to find transportation of some kind that's a little faster than foot if you want to avoid the undead. The mindless ones, I mean.
Well, we do know where he parked his meat wagon, so
Yeah.
we'll
And
just
we
go.
appreciate all of your help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. I'm sure we'll see each
Oh.
other again before too long.
You should also fire your receptionist.
She was fine. Okay, listen. I know she sold us
She
out.
sold us out.
Yes, she did. But you know what? It worked out because we wanted to kick those guys' asses anyway. And also, you know,
what?
you cannot listen. You can't fault someone for trying to make money in this place.
You're right. Promote her. Let's go.
Don't judge her too harshly. The hanged men have a stranglehold on Central Slum. Pun not
Pun.
intended.
Okay. Say, is that supposed to be fucking funny? This is a joke.
Though speaking of, you have 2 other items in your possession. I doubt you understand the value of.
And Hunter just pulls out
She
one of the
gestures.
guns.
Oh,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like,
I
don't
know those. You know
Uh,
how to use those.
no. She gestures to whoever has the 2 needles that appeared where the hanged men tattoos were on
Oh.
the bodies that you left behind.
Kelly will just hold them up and be like, these.
Yes, those. They are also magical in and of themselves. If you touch the needle to your skin, the image that they're meant to impart will appear and infuse you with magic of some kind.
All right.
Do we know what's gonna show up?
One of
Probably a
these,
hanged man.
one of these is protective. The other
Tells
more
lies.
offensive.
Hmm.
Use them if you wish, but I'd be cautious about marking yourself with their image.
Hmm.
Cool. Good to know. Thank you.
Okay.
You're very welcome. So one of those needles
Mhm.
will create a barrier tattoo, which basically acts as armor, 12 plus your dexterity modifier. So it's essentially non-magical leather armor, but it's a tattoo instead of armor, which could be a thing for Max, but I think your barbarian stuff is better than that.
Yeah, it is.
The other one, apparently the link didn't save. The other one is called the Coiling Grasp Tattoo. And with that one, you can, as an action, cause tendrils to emerge from the tattoo and reach creatures within 15 feet of you. They have to succeed on a strength saving throw or take 3d6 force damage and be automatically grappled.
What? That's sick.
I mean, if they fail to save, they take the damage and are automatically grappled. They're not just automatically
Right.
grappled.
You're just snatching them out of the air.
So yeah, that's a thing.
Cool. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's head out. Meat mobile.
Meat wagon, yes.
The Meatmobile.
The meat mobile.
You gotta
You-
call it by the right
you-
thing, or else the undead will get suspicious.
Oh, you're right.
They'll be
It's
like,
true.
you fucking posers.
The lightning
So
meat
yeah,
queen.
you. Ka-chow.
Oof. Okay.
Night, let's go. Let's just get
It's a
out of here.
very timely and relevant Cars reference. Good work.
Strange.
So you can leave the brothel behind and make your way back through Central Slum. There is still some chaos in the market square. Not violent, as far as you can tell, but still a large gathering of people. You skirt the crowd, presumably,
Mhm.
and you may even be disguising yourselves to appear not undead, since that's not really what you want here in the slums.
True facts. I would endorse that.
Are you
I would
taking steps? Yeah.
I would endorse that too, that we should use one of our little spider friend charges to make ourselves look like ourselves. Or at least not dead. We don't have to,
Everybody can spend those, and you have 3 charges left on your Dream Weavers for the day until you rest, and you can appear as your normal selves. I assume is what you're going for.
I would say Hunter makes one variation. They make sure that the bark-like skin is not visible in this disguise, so that they're not, drawing undue attention to themselves.
Yeah. I think we had also said earlier on maybe that you can, if you focus really hard, you can maybe move the patches on your body that are barky so that they're like not visible.
Yeah. That as well.
All right. Cool.
Wayne makes himself
So,
look
yeah,
like his dad. He looks in the mirror,
Papa.
sheds a tear, keeps going.
It's just Wayne, but with a mustache.
And a little bit of gray right here, right at the temples.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you can those families where you can see the resemblance, like dead on. You're like,
Dead
Wayne, why'd
on,
you give yourself a mustache?
Dad on.
Nice.
All right.
Undad on.
All right.
Yes.
Undad on.
This is
Jesus.
escalating
That's
too much.
quite enough. That's quite enough.
You did
leave
this.
Central Slum behind, you exit, and you go to where you know Eddie left the meat wagon stashed. You can figure out how to activate it, and now the engine component that was sort of emitting those blue motes of light and glowing in and of itself and emitting that propulsive force of blue energy out of the back of the vehicle makes a lot more sense now that you know what eleventh is. So you can fire that bad boy up. Did any of you have a license?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest.
For sure,
but
I had a license.
Didn't Ryan pick you up at a bus stop?
It's because he didn't have a
Just because
car.
I don't have a car.
I would say I did
doesn't
have a license, but the car that I share was taken away when my brother went to college.
Yeah, Hunter had a license as well because they had their truck.
I
Right.
never drove, but I'm also the biggest and oldest.
What
so
does
I
that
should
have to
drive.
do with
Are
driving
you
a
just
car?
gonna try to pull
Oldest
rank?
and wisest.
Are you just gonna try to pull rank to drive? Is that what's happening
Yeah.
here?
I feel like I would just do it the best.
You know?
I vote Kelly.
So activating it. So
Fine.
activating it is different. You're not turning a key in the ignition or anything like that. You are sort of you do figure it out eventually that you kind of have to coax the elemether contained within the engine to life. You kind of stoke it almost like a fire.
Mm.
And as it slowly starts to glow brighter and brighter, and more of those motes of light start to appear in the air all around it, you figure out the system that will allow you to drive it. It's essentially a valve, less of a pedal, and more of a release that you open up to get more throttle. So more of the energy that's contained within is escaping and propelling you forward. The steering is closer to a bicycle than a steering wheel. More like handlebars.
Mm.
It doesn't strike you as great, especially because there's no power steering, obviously, so it's kind of a huge pain. You assume that the reason for that is probably because undead are generally much stronger than living people. So they never saw a reason to improve upon it because it wasn't really an issue for them, only for the living. I'm not really sure how Eddie manages, especially with one arm, but he does very deftly. And once you've coaxed the meat wagon to life, you can start driving it across the slum floor to where your Dreamweavers have implanted the knowledge of where the spire is.
Don't like this. This is unpleasant.
What?
it's not a visceral experience. It's just kind of something you know now. You
Yes,
just don't have an explanation for why you know it.
except we do. We know it's the spiders, and I don't have to like it.
For sure.
New friends.
Oh, you
It's
don't have to like
fine.
it. It's just friends. It's fine.
They are parasites. This is a symbiotic parasitic relationship. That's fine. I can get behind that. I don't have to like it.
Well,
I'm
is
not
it-
gonna like it.
Is it symbiotic or is it parasitic? Because those are different things.
It's parasitic in that it's awful and I hate it. It's symbiotic in that they get some nice juicy dreams and to go, backpacking across a noon, and we get localized GPS. I stand by what I
mean,
said.
You can also like read minds and disguise yourself. You get a lot of benefits. Arguably, you get the better end of this deal. All you have to do is sleep and dream like you normally would. And that's the only thing they're doing. So it's fine.
Is,
What
is
happened?
Kelly a fast driver? Were we like whipping around?
I was gonna say
in this boat?
Kelly would like to get there as fast as possible. The faster we get to Ryan and get him out and get his body back, the faster we can go back to the spider lady and stop being fucking dead.
Mhm.
Get out of this fucking place. I can go back and I can hold my foster niece.
I will say, as we're driving, Hunter is like, "Hey guys, I had a lot of time to think when we were in the cocoon, and I'm sorry I didn't mention that she was a spider lady. I didn't think it was relevant, but then she also said that if she chose someone else, they would probably have fought her. So I'm realizing that it actually may have been relevant because I agreed with her on that. So yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Just like a little bit of warning would have been nice. You didn't have to tell us her whole life story, but just a hey,
she's a spider.
Yeah,
I
been-
definitely would have killed her.
I feel like there's an implicit trust there. If you think it's the best decision, then I'll go with that. But if you had just given me a little bit of warning,
Just a little.
spider lady, but still.
No, that's fair. I'm sorry. I'll do better next time.
I honestly, and I say this with all the love in my heart, I hope that we are never in that situation again.
What are the
we're all
odds?
learning.
A second giant spider lady. What are the
A
odds?
second giant spider lady.
Come on.
I mean,
That's
now
true.
we
You
know
don't
that
even
the
have to
Raven
go
Queen
back.
is like a Raven lady.
No, we're going back. We have to go back.
Well, if you don't want to be in that situation again, you don't even have to go back. It'll wear off eventually, and you can just keep the little brain spiders forever.
It'll wear off eventually in several, possibly months, possibly years. If we leave this
Maybe,
city like this, someone's gonna try to kill us.
You just
Listen,
disguise
Unless
self
undead-
every day.
Undead cocoon transformations are not an exact science.
I am not a fan. I am
So
holding it together.
in the light cast by the engine of the meat wagon, you see and know inherently as you're drawing close to the spire. It is easily the largest object you have seen since you entered Barrow itself. And it is a stalactite. So what you see is the tip first, which touches the earth that you're currently driving on. And following it up, obviously it widens, but you can't really see where it ends. It's well outside of the range of the light that you are casting, even the very edges of your vision.
Cool.
But you can stop in front of it. And what do?
Drop disguise self.
Yeah. We
Cool.
just make ourselves look dead.
I
Shamble out of this cart.
before we leave the meat wagon over to Kelly,
Yes.
and I say, listen, I know you're in an uncomfortable situation, and this is not necessarily the best place for you, even though it's pretty rad. pretty scary too. So you should be able to protect yourself and ching if you need it. You know, probably need both hands, but I don't. But you.
Kelly like takes it in both hands, looks at it, looks at the axe, looks at Max, and then kind of like swings it in just the one hand, just like a quick.
You might need a. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Yeah,
puts it back in both hands, and she's like, "Thank you. I do appreciate it."
That was badass.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Cleric benefits. And then she strap that onto her back as best she can. Finagle it.
As you are standing there with the axe and strapping it onto your back, the dead silence, almost oppressive silence that surrounds you in Barrow when you're not near a slum or a settlement of any kind, now that the meat wagon is slowly settling and that blue light is starting to fade a little bit, you hear a noise. It can really only be described as scuttling.
With my goggles, can I see anything? If I turn towards the noise.
The noise is coming from above you, it sounds like. You turn your gaze upwards, and at first, whatever this is outside of the range of even the dark vision that your goggles grant you.
Oh no.
I don't like that.
But in short order, it becomes visible.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost looks like a subway train. But it's made out of the same kind of black metal that the entire outside of Barrow is, as far as you can tell. It is emitting from inside of these boxcars, for lack of a better term, a blue light. And it is moving down the spire on hundreds, if not thousands, of legs.
Like human people legs?
No, like
okay,
sharp insectile legs almost.
Okay.
Wow, I love that.
So like a scented.
So it
like
resembles
It's like a millipede.
like cat bus, but millipede bus.
Oh.
similar, yeah. And you realize that you've heard probably Edmund describe these before from going up into the upper cities to work in the factories. He probably told you about how the undead move around in the city from place to place. You would recognize this as one of the mana rails. And on that note, we should take a break.
Nice. Mana rails.
Mana rails.
Such a fun place the city is.
So much fun.
I love little mana rails. I want to be a best friend.
You can try. You can try. All right, we will be back in probably about 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We're going to use the facilities, refresh beverages. Yeah, we'll be back as soon as we can. Thanks for sticking around. Once again, we are live from the apocalypse. This is Class Reunion. If you want to donate, I'll put the link up one more time. Exclamation point, PP donate. And we'll see you in just a few. So, yeah. Thanks for sticking around.
Delaware has more things going on than people give it credit for.
I forget that
Including
Delaware exists
shrooms.
all the time.
Yeah, same. Honestly.
All the time.
I have to drive through it all the time, and I forget that it exists.
Yeah. Well, it's because you sneeze, you close your eyes, and then you're already through Delaware.
That is true.
Yeah.
Haven't heard that one before.
It's tax-free or die. So, hi, hello.
Hello.
We were just discussing
Hello.
Delaware.
As we
We were
do.
just discussing some of our favorite states. What are some of your favorite states? Tell us in chat. Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get back into class reunion. Thanks for hanging with us. When we left off, you had just arrived at the Spire, the massive stalactite that connects the upper city of Barrow to the slum floor. And descending from it, you saw your first mana rail, a subway car like object that moves on not millions, hundreds
Millions.
of little iron spiky bug legs.
So it's a centibus, not a millibus.
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah.
mana bus.
probably.
Wait,
It's
Mana
hard for you
rail.
to mana rail. They move very quickly, so it's kind of hard for you to count all the legs, but
That's
hundreds,
fair.
thousands, functionally the same. Anyway, it descends, and as it gets closer, it's kind of winding its way around the stalactite. So it's in view, and then it's not in view, and then it comes back into view before it eventually stops right in front of you. And it kind of settles on all of those legs. They sink down a little bit. Unlike a traditional subway car, which you're from a small town in Ohio, so you've probably seen pictures of, this does not have windows. It's kind of just a metal box. There is an opening at the front that you saw as it was descending because you saw the light emerging from the outside. But it settles in front of you, and then a section of the car that is directly in front of you sort of spins open, creates an oval-shaped hole in the side. And inside, you can see a very subway car-like or bus-like setup, where there are just basically benches lining either side. But standing directly in front of you, in a grayish, kind of greasy-looking jumpsuit, is a creature who looks a lot like each of you all, now that you've been transformed. Same sort of waxy skin, red eyes, cuts or like gaps around his mouth. And he looks out at the four of you, looks over at the meat wagon, says, I wasn't scheduled for no pickup.
Well, somebody fucked up because we're trying to go up.
I mean, your wagon's empty.
They didn't have anything today.
Where were you?
Central Slum?
Central Summer, nobody died.
That's what they
So
told
here's
us.
the thing. You're saying that you don't have anybody coming up. Well, they must have doubled up on the order. So we came in right after somebody just came back. So we don't have anything to do, and we wasted a bunch of time down here trying to waste no more.
Roll to lie.
Deception?
Can I
Yeah.
can I help? Can I give him like the help action? I just kind of want to be standing like as tall as I can, just kind of leaning over, just looking like I'm real pissed off.
Yeah.
Had a bad day.
That is, it says 5 and a 10, so that's a 12, DM.
Okay. Just for fun. Let's see.
No.
Don't use that one dice.
No, it's fine. I'm using a different
Sick.
die that
Oh,
Justin
good.
made.
Nice.
Oh,
So
man,
yeah.
death dice.
Mhm. So if anything happens to you, you can blame Justin. So yeah, you he kind of takes in what you just said to him, a very perplexed expression spreads across his very dull face. Like he's thinking very hard about what you're saying, and then after a couple seconds, just gives up. And you can see that in his face. And he says, "Yeah, all right." You load it into the back. Let's go.
Just head on back.
And we do so.
All right. So the engine was starting to settle, but you're able to coax it back into life. So you can drive the wagon around to the back end where he was gesturing to, where a larger opening opens in sort of the end of the car, and with enough room for you to drive the meat wagon into.
Just getting on in there. We're just like, Eddie's gonna either be like super thrilled with us, or like he's gonna really hate us.
We're never seeing that guy again.
Save him,
Hey.
So yeah, you park the wagon inside of the car, and then you can get out and take a seat, whatever you want. He does not give you a warning before it starts to move. It just kind of lurches into motion and starts its ascent back up the spire and into Barrow proper.
Let's see. Out of curiosity, since this is arguably one of the only ways to get up to the surface, does it look like anywhere on this bus has a kind of detention facility where they would hold a person who was sold by a criminal gang?
Nope, it is literally just benches.
All right.
Is it one long corridor, or is it in like sections?
One long thing, which is very sort of unnerving to watch as it's moving because it's not segmented like a subway car is. It just kind of bends.
Cool.
Just feel it like rippling under our feet like a fish. Ugh.
Yep.
Gross.
Very weird and bad.
Is there anyone else on here?
Nope.
Andy.
Nope. It is just the four of you, and then you can see this person standing at the front end of it. He does not appear to be doing anything. He's just kind of looking directly ahead with his arms crossed.
Drive this thing.
But he's not driving either.
He's probably doing something with his mind, so let's just not fuck it up. On the return. Kelly will be like, on the return trip, we will probably have to.
Where'd you say you came from?
Central slums.
No, I mean from the city.
The factory division.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess that explains why you dress like that. Was that you testing the merchandise or something?
Yeah,
Do you usually ask these people questions?
No, I'm just making conversation.
Oh,
he's
gotcha.
Don't mind him. He's a little irritated that we wasted the trip.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, my job to go back up and down all day, so it's a little bit different, I suppose. But you drive out to the slums. It's a long ways.
So do you just go up and then down and then up and then down? Because if you weren't expecting anybody, would you have just kind of got to the bottom and then opened the door and then closed the door and then gone right back up?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
That's my route.
Pretty nice route.
It's a living.
Living.
Right. Well, dying. Is it dying,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's more correct of the options. Yeah.
That's a good joke. That's a
It's
very
a-
good joke.
That's a class
That's my
joke.
route. Ooh, boy.
Never thought I'd meet an undead bus driver in Barrow.
Check it off your bucket list, buddy.
People gotta get around. You getting off at Bloodside then? All right.
Bloodside.
Well, shouldn't be too much longer.
Did anyone else come up recently?
Yeah, there was a few folk today from some of the other slums. All scheduled though, so I don't know what happened with you lot. I suppose no, there was that one. Some prisoner or something being transported.
Where'd that unlucky sod get let off at?
Bloodside. Yeah, I mean most folk coming from the slums are gonna get off at Bloodside. They gotta report in and make sure they're not carrying too much filth into the city. You know how it is.
They're disgusting
Day
creatures,
in
aren't
and
they?
day out.
Yeah, truly, I do not barely even remember being alive. Don't know how I lived with myself. Absolutely disgusting. Delicious, but disgusting. You folks hungry? I know you made that trip out there and said there was nothing for you to get, so I assume probably been a while. You
Got
can
something?
all feel that sort of gnawing hunger that started as soon as you got out of the cocoons. You realize that it has been slowly sort of building inside of you.
You're gonna force us to become cannibals. I might lose it.
You have anything on hand? We come
Nice.
back dry, so
Oh my god.
Mm,
Or anything on foot, on thigh, whatever you got.
on eye.
That's
really.
another- That's another very good joke. You're very funny people. You're wasted on deliveries. Yeah, no, I've got some of my lunch left over. He will reach over to the bench that's like on his right and pull out a container
Mhm.
that is cylinder. It's basically just a big tube
Mhm.
with a lid on it, and he will sort of set it down in the middle of the row and unscrew the top. And immediately
Is it a garment?
immediately the smell of raw meat fills the manor rail.
Does it smell good?
Yeah, what's it smell like?
It does.
Nice.
Like you hate it, but it does smell good.
Nice.
It's Soylent Green.
Mhm.
Yeah, I eat some.
Yeah, no, I don't remember this fellow's name. Something Green. I don't know.
Mhm. Apt.
But help yourselves if you're hungry.
Max, after you.
Max is already
Okay.
chewing, I think.
Yeah, picks him up. I look at this man up and down. I say, "Where'd you happen to pick him up?"
Oh, I mean, well, base of the stalactite, isn't it? That's my route. Up and down.
Not really ripe.
Not really ripe. Is that what you said?
Hmm.
What do you mean? Is that another joke?
I don't know. I'm just used to something a little more fresh. But
Oh, you're talking
thank
about the food. Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, well, it's been sitting. So, yeah. You all don't you're not like it is not an overwhelming urge
Mm.
or anything like that. You're not losing control of yourselves. It's just the same as if you tried not to eat food when you were living, basically.
Mm.
You can feel yourselves, you can feel the hunger building inside you. You can, tell that you are hungry, essentially.
Thanks.
not-
And you can
I
keep,
grabbed the
you can
top
keep,
and I put it in my bag.
Just gonna steal this man's lunch.
What's he gonna do about it?
well, I mean, listen,
Kick us
I was
off the
gonna
boat.
share with, well, I was going to share with y'all, but I mean, that's quite a bit.
Said it was leftovers, right?
Yeah, yeah, I was going to eat them.
He's gotta be on here for the rest of his shift.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, we can get something in the city.
You know, you really should just argue for shorter work hours. You shouldn't be eating this. It's a little old.
Oh, guys, I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't even know I don't know what I would do with more time. Like, what was that? Sleep? I don't sleep.
That's a good point.
I can eat on the move.
And this is your route. This is
This is my route.
what you
That's
do.
true. This is
Up and down.
up and down.
But
Maybe
now-
you could take other routes.
Maybe, but I'm really good at this one.
I'm gonna kind of like nudge Max just a little and be like,
What? Should I? Is it
no. If you keep questioning those things that are very intrinsic to the being dead thing, they're gonna get suspicious about you not being dead.
Should I eat then?
Just eat it.
Okay.
Um,
I eat it.
this- Yeah, I mean,
I
listen,
take a bite.
friends. Yeah, you obviously need it more than I do. So, help yourself. But if you get full, maybe leave some behind for me.
Don't worry, we workers stick together. I'll leave some for you.
Well, I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's nice to know there's so much solidarity here in the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, here we are.
All
Blood side. That
Doors
same
open.
opening,
What are we
yeah,
looking
that
at?
same opening appears in the side and at the back end also where the wagon is. And you're standing, the mana rail has stopped in kind of a dirt plot. But looking beyond that, it's clear that this is sort of a staging area. You can actually see, as you start to exit the mana rail, more of them that have kind of stopped in the same place, almost like they are parked in place. And about 100 feet off from the entrance of the mana rail, where you are standing, you can see where this dirt plot turns into actual city. The only frame of reference you have for Barrow, the real Barrow, as you are seeing it now for the first time, is an Earth city. It is even where you are now. Like if you look up, you can see there is a lot more city up above you. But even standing where you are now, you can see that there are like proper streets and lanes stretched out in front of you. There are buildings that down here don't resemble the height of skyscrapers, but are still taller than anything you've seen constructed in a noon. Maybe short of like the Grand Library in Calderon. Most notably, though, there are signs. There are advertisements.
Huh?
Obviously, there aren't billboards, but there are giant glowing displays advertising things. You're not sure what all of them are, but you can see the side of a building directly across from the Manor Rail yard that you are currently standing in that has a glowing image of a stylized plate in white light with a glowing just chunk of bloody meat sitting on it. And as you watch, an arm reaches in, picks up the meat, moves it out of the frame of the board, puts it back on the plate, and then repeats.
Hmm.
There are other signs that you can see that are similarly glowing in different shades of neon colors. Everything is written out where there is language written out in Marif, which you can understand thanks to the Dreamweavers implanted in your brains.
Friends.
Friends. So you can see where it's advertising food or entertainment or things like that.
What a horror show.
What's your name again?
My name?
Mm-hmm.
Mort.
More.
Mort.
I'll make sure to put
More.
in a good word. More. Thanks
Oh,
for the snack.
Okay. With who?
You let me worry about that.
You know, it was very, very nice meeting you, Mort. I wish you nothing but the best of luck on your route.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you too. It's very easy. So,
Yeah, you make it
probably
look
be
easy.
fine. Thank you. Appreciate that. Every once in a while, I'm like, maybe I should, switch it up a little bit. But it
I
just
think
makes a
you
lot of
got it
sense.
figured out. I mean, it seems like
Yeah.
you've got what more could you want?
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I go straight down. Sometimes I wind around.
Mm-hmm.
We'll say, never gone down backwards.
You know, it's a time for everything. That
Maybe,
time is now.
maybe that might be. No, yeah, I don't know. That
Or maybe
one
tomorrow,
day.
you know, who cares? Anyway.
All right. Well, good luck. Thanks for. I don't know who you're gonna put in a good word with, but thank you. I guess seems very kind.
Yeah, kind. I'm just gonna start
Good.
pushing. Yeah, I'm gonna get the meat wagon out of the back of his thing.
Yeah.
Thanks
Okay.
for picking us up. Sorry we disrupted your schedule.
No, yeah, no problem at all. My pleasure. Very, very. Use the laughs. Really appreciate that. Really broke up the monotony. Guys get a bit boring. I'll be honest with you. You probably want to put that. You probably want to put that over there with the rest of them. And he points over to another section of the yard that you're currently standing in, where you can see there's a sort of a fenced off area where there are a lot more meat wagons.
Yeah, we gotta push it over to the part where it gets fixed up. There was a pretty dumb pack that we ran into. Bastards.
Oh yeah, I mean, good luck. Everything's real backed up these days. Well, with the riots and all.
Riots?
Damn
Yeah.
riots.
Those been happening a lot more lately?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it will until they figure out who's behind them or who's making the pulses all uppity all of a sudden.
Yeah, we don't get to hear a lot about that with us running around down there.
Thought you said you was from the factory district.
From the factory district, but we do a lot of the up and downs.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm. All right. We'll probably see you again then. We'll have to
Yeah,
go back
probably.
down eventually.
Okay. Well, yeah, good luck. Hope you get your wagon fixed.
All right. Just gonna
Bye.
back away slowly.
Yeah. He gets back in the monorail and the door closes and it starts going down as he continues his route. No, not backwards.
He goes down. He's not brave enough. He goes down the regular
Yeah,
way.
not today.
Not today. Today's not the day.
No. Well, hearing about the fact that there are still riots going on does perk up my heart a little bit.
So yeah, here you are in Bloodside.
All right.
As we've established, there are lots of things all around here that you can potentially partake in. This particular section that is closest to the monorail yard seems like kind of almost like a dockside section. You see a lot of people in those same beige jumpsuits that Mort was wearing, wandering around, moving between, like, from establishment to establishment. You get the impression that that's a work uniform, and these are probably people who have, like, just finished their shifts or maybe about to go on their shifts. You're not too sure. But this appears to be a very sort of, if Barrow had like a blue collar section, you get the impression that's where you are in the city.
Okay.
Except here it's red collar. But
Nice.
I turn to Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
You know this place better than anyone else. Where
Yeah.
to? And then I take a big bite, like an apple.
of an apple or
like
No, like
it's an
I'm
apple.
eating
like an apple? Okay.
I understand, but I don't like that. Oh,
Sorry,
God.
you're making me uncomfortable. Pretty good, actually.
I hope you don't get prions.
So is there like public transportation around here?
So looking up into the rest of the city, you can actually see some of the taller structures that rise up through what looks like the entirety of Barrow. Have more of those monorails, just scaling the sides, moving straight up.
So I've been in this city before. When I was here, I mostly was, again, in the factory area because I was with a group of people who were, dissenting and causing riots and problems. So that's where I'm the most familiar. If there was anyone from that group still around, that's most likely where they will be if we want to try to find anyone and get information. That's also the most likely place where they took Eddie, probably for processing and assignments. If we want to try to find him.
Seems like a good first step.
Mm-hmm.
From there, the only other thing I could think to go is probably to where the merchants load and unload their wagons and try to see if we can find out if anyone brought a body in. But I think if we're gonna try to,
just gonna say I've been working on this kind of thing where I I feel like if I really tried hard enough, I could feel out where Ryan is. Uh, if he were to be within 1,000 feet of me.
Just a
So
casual
if
1,000 feet.
we might be able to hustle our way onto one of those, one of those skyscraper buses.
Just
You
like
know you
hang
guys
around
real
the city
close.
like a metal detector.
Kinda. I mean, if there's like public transportation around, I think we could pinpoint where he is pretty close.
So,
feel
I
like
mean, that might
we
be a little
should
further along once we're ready to
we
Well-
go
should
get him,
also
but
pick up some names. If people start asking questions, we better know who we're supposed to be talking to or reporting to.
that, yes and no. Saying the wrong name is just as much of a risk as saying no name.
Mm,
The better thing to do is just to try not to get spoken to.
mm.
And I will say on that note, like Hunter has very studiously not said a word since the door opened to the center rail and is still not talking.
But yeah, I think we are more likely to be able to get onto one of those monorail systems over where the merchants are because they don't really want to risk pulsars getting on. So they're not really going to be a lot of options over in the factory district for us to get on. So if we want to try to get Eddie, we should go there first, and then we'll have to make our ways over to the merchant quarters.
it's the move. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
So you're starting. It sounded like you were starting with trying to talk to the like wagon repair folk.
I think that was kind of just an excuse to like why
Okay.
we're like to offload the wagon. I assume
Okay.
we're gonna
I
have to
thought
steal
you
a
were-
different wagon when we come back, or requisition a different wagon when we come back.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? Yeah, you can just leave it in the yard if you want. Do you park it amongst the others?
Yeah, like again, in the effort to not be spoken to, trying
yeah.
to make it look like we know what we're doing. We're not just gonna leave it in the road because that is automatically some bureaucratic asshole is gonna be like, "Why the fuck you parking your bus here?"
Yeah, absolutely.
So
So you can absolutely pull it into the ranks of all of the others. In comparison, yours does look, or Eddie's, I guess, does look more beat up, a lot rougher. All of the repairs that presumably he has done have resulted in it looking a lot more patchwork and unprofessional
just
than the
gonna,
ones that are currently surrounding it.
yeah, just gonna park it, drop it off, and walk away.
Yeah,
Don't look
confidence is
back.
key.
Don't look back. Just
Absolutely. You pull it in, and you can see another jumpsuited undead person moving around and sort of barking orders at other jumpsuited people. You get the impression that this is somebody with some authority here. You're not exactly sure what their position is, but beyond the them, you can see what they're largely doing is directing other folks to pull or push the carts that have hitches to attach to the wagons, which are heaped with bodies, corpses, over to what you assume is some kind of intake or processing center where they basically then dump all of the corpses out onto a platform.
I'm just gonna climb
And
down out
if
of the
you would-
wagon.
If you would like to avoid the gaze of this surprisingly observant foreman, we'll need you to make stealth checks.
I can do that. I can most definitely do that.
Yeah, I could do that.
Stealth,
My
you
jersey's pretty
say.
light. That is an 11.
16.
How many pool things do we have?
3.
Okay, I will risk
Should
it.
have used it. What? Take one of them.
Take?
Yeah, we got 3 of them.
Yeah, you
Too
can
good to
take.
use syndrome.
You can't take him with you.
Okay. I guess I will, because I only get a +1.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh, oops. There we go.
That's not how that works.
That's not how that works. 14. Or 4. Okay, 14 it is.
All right. The
Was Hunters a
foreman.
15?
Yeah, Hunter's
it-
was at 17.
17.
17.
Okay. I knew you had a
Not a
pretty
bad
high
spread.
stealth.
Yeah.
Not a bad spread at all. So the foreman actually, as you are getting out of the wagon and starting to leave the other direction, the foreman notices you, it seems like, and starts moving towards you. You see this flash of curiosity across his face, and he starts walking towards you all. And I'm assuming you pretend not to notice and kind of keep
Mhm.
hustling away. Absolutely. And
Can we like also, as we're kind of shuffling away, I'll just turn to whoever is closest to me. Be like, damn, what a waste of a day. Guess can't wait to just relax, go home, and eat. I'm
People.
hungry. Eat.
can't wait to just go home and eat people like, normal.
I'm starved
Yes.
and I'm pissed.
That's
it.
Yeah.
Selling it.
Yeah.
Really just going above and beyond.
Really just nailing this 100%.
Knitting.
Yeah, you are moving away when you hear the foreman call out to you and says, excuse me. Excuse me?
Yeah.
This he points to the wagon and says, was this one yours? You just had this out.
We just parked it in.
But did you have it out?
Well, to
Yeah, we
bring it
just
in, we
parked it
gotta have
in.
it out, right?
Okay. And then like looks down at, you don't see anything, but maybe some kind of hidden identification thing on the wagon.
The VIN number is scratched off on the side.
Something like that. No, he leans, he crouches down and is definitely noting something that you don't see.
I just, while he's crouched
And-
down, I'm just like,
Yeah.
let's just fucking
Mm.
go. No. It's just.
Shink.
Yeah,
And
just,
he
just while he's
yeah.
distracted, just like fucking go. Get out of
he
here.
seems satisfied with your answer to his question.
Cool.
Skedaddle.
Walk
Skedaddle on over to the.
confidently.
Oh,
Stomp away.
Yeah, you stomp confidently away from that yard and
I take a
onto
nice-
the
I
streets.
take another big bite.
Onto the streets of Barrow. The streets themselves appear to be cobblestone, though you don't recognize the particular types of stone. They might be igneous, is your only real guess. But they are very dark. Just varying shades of dark. and it's very disconcerting how familiar it feels. Like, there are sidewalks, obviously not made of concrete. You'd guess maybe some kind of maybe limestone or something like that, but it's set up very similar to a metropolitan area on Earth.
This place is the worst.
You had something to say, Raph?
I'm just I don't know. I feel like doesn't it seem a little bit odd? First we found real guns, human guns. This place looks like, I don't know. Well, I've never been, but it looks like what New York should look like.
It's a unique pinpoint in this whole fucking country.
Right, but that's not weird to you that the rest of this world
Of
looks
course
like out
it's
of a
weird to
fucking
me, Max.
fantasy nerd novel, and this is like some
Of course
Star
it's weird.
It
Wars.
looks
Don't
like one of
know
those
yet.
like giant cities from like the movies, like Columbus.
Of course it's weird. It's not, but again, it's always been treated as weird. Nobody, if you talk to them in Calderon or anywhere else in a noon, thinks that this is normal. They all just kind of ignore how weird it is because they get something from it.
Sure, I just mean, isn't it weird to us? Doesn't it seem too familiar? Maybe we're not the first.
Well, we already know that now. In a way. If the madam is to be believed, we're not the only creatures from another place to come here, period. And Stonehenge has existed for a very long time. There's no reason to believe why we're the only ones who crossed through it.
It just sends a bad feeling, some bad vibes, that the most humanistic, that's too big of a word, the most human part of this world is Barrow.
Yeah, that is quite weird. I could agree with
I'm just
that.
saying that's not a good thing.
Again, nothing is a good thing here.
Although, I wonder if that means that whoever founded Barrow
I mean, couldn't it have gone the other way too? I mean, couldn't someone from here have ended up where we're from and created what we see there?
I think we would have
Whoa.
more magic if that was true.
I mean, there was that pervert.
A creepy guy with a fake gun.
With the sword? You guys
But
told me
real
he had
magic.
a sword.
Yeah, he stabbed me, dude.
Yeah, and his wiener was out too.
His literal wiener was out, dude. It was a high school party. We
It's
were
not cool.
minor. Well, you guys were minors.
I think we all remember that night very differently.
Yep. For the record, because Session 0 was not televised, his wiener was not out.
Sorry, I had one too
That
many
never
Labatt's that night.
happened.
I remember a wiener, dude.
It was your wiener.
Just
You were
wanted
on the
to be
toilet.
clear.
Differently.
Just want to be clear, no wieners were out. in session 0 of this game. No.
I'm telling you, they're making those O'Douls stronger and stronger every year.
Yeah,
So we're walking down the street on our way to the
to the
next person to talk
factories.
to.
Anyway,
You are, yeah, you are heading to the factory district, which is not particularly close to Bloodside. If you think about Barrow as a vertical place, which it largely is, technically Bloodside and the factory district are on the same level, but they're not very close to each other in terms of distance. Barrow, obviously, as we've established, is massive. And you could easily walk for days, Kelly, you're pretty positive,
Mhm.
without reaching the other side, basically. Max, as you are walking through these streets, you get the disconcerting but still familiar feeling of somebody watching you.
can I look around for my birds?
You don't see any birds. You don't see any birds, but
I
what you do
Pull up my
see,
shirt and I look under my skin just in case.
you don't see that either. But what you
Okay.
do see, on a nearby lamppost that is emitting magical light steadily from a bar, a group of little dark figures hanging and watching you. Looks like it.
I nudge Hunter.
Freaking
Are-
bats.
Are those bats?
And that.
Are those bats?
Yeah, you Hunter, you use your animal expertise to look at them and determine that yes, they are bats.
Yeah, they're bats.
Do they also have red eyes?
I mean, you can't really tell, honestly.
Does anyone else seem to notice them?
Nobody seems to be paying them any mind. It's hard to say whether they notice them or not.
Interesting. Okay.
Has that ever happened before, Max?
Well, when I landed, I started being followed by thousands of ravens, so I want to say yes. But
not bats.
bats, no.
Okay.
No, mostly just birds.
Well,
I just take
You-
note. As we're walking, I want to be just constantly looking around and seeing if I keep seeing bats or if was just those couple that were on the post.
as you keep walking, which we'll say you do for a while before Kelly, you maybe remember or realize that like you can't really walk to the factory district. But you turn a couple corners and cover a good bit of distance. And when you look back, obviously they're not in the same place because that's not visible anymore, but yeah, you can see them just hanging out.
Can I try to do my borrowed eyes?
Yes, you can.
I can try or I just can.
You can try. I think there's a roll involved, isn't there?
No. No.
There may
Just says
not
as
be.
an
It's been a
action.
while since I looked. Just
Oh,
as an
it just
action?
says
Yeah,
as an
okay.
action,
So then
you can influence the watchers for 1 hour. And
so
then-
that's to make them leave, but that's not to see through their eyes.
Yeah, that's what it says. It says it's called borrowed eyes. Oh,
I
I
thought that
read
was
the
just the
wrong
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, uh, sorry, this is very tiny. The font is very small.
No, you're fine.
No, yeah, it just
Hold
says
on,
as an
actually.
action you can influence the watcher for 1 hour for the duration.
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
you're
game.
right. You're right.
Blah blah blah. You can't be blinded.
Sorry, you can temporarily disperse them with a check, but yeah, borrowed
With-
eyes is different. You're
Yes. Okay.
right. So yeah, you can do it as an action and gain advantage, and you can't be blinded.
Cool. I do that.
Normally, it's a weird thing where like you are you're seeing what's right in front of you, but you're also perceiving everything around you in like 360 degrees. So it's almost like an out of body experience, but also your regular senses are still intact. This time, it's similar to that, but it's not so much a visual as it is just a sense of your surroundings.
Interesting. But it does work.
It does work. Yeah. So you're perceiving yourself from across the street.
Okay. I just make eye contact.
Okay.
I keep going. I let Hunter know for sure. The
All right.
ravens have turned into bats.
I don't think that's something that usually happens, but okay.
You know, bark doesn't usually grow on skin either. So
I mean, that's different. Maybe that's different. We should probably talk about that at some point.
We'll say, Kelly, it's about this point where you realize that like you can't walk to the factories.
Yeah, Kelly
What do you wanna
will kind of slow to a stop and kind of look around and be like, shit.
What we'll actually say is that you reach a part of the city that you recognize, not super well, but vaguely, and you're like, because you never were in Bloodside when you were here last time, but you recognize where you are now, and you're kind of looking around, and you're like, oh fuck, we are nowhere near where we need to be.
All right, fuck. This is shit. So we're here. We need to get, and I'll kind of like point and lean all the way down there and then a couple miles. And this is going to take all fucking day unless we can find something faster.
I will say that you can, what you gesture to, we'll say, is a panel set into the wall where you would think a storefront would go, but there's not one here. It's just a stretch of wall and then this map of the city. It has it's a side view of the city because again, Barrow is a very vertical place. And in the like lower right hand corner of the map, which appears to be moving. If you didn't know better, you would think maybe it's real time. There is the branding crest of Barrow, which you've only ever seen before on Barrowcraft items for sale in the rest of the kingdom, which just kind of resembles a black, jagged, vaguely tower-like shape within a circle. As you are standing there and discussing this, a pair of undead folk who look very out of place here. A lot of the people you have seen have been wearing those jumpsuits or regular like what you would think is maybe typical dress for Barrow. But these two, you can sort of get the impression that they are people of means. they're looking around a little confused, and one of them spots the map on the wall, gestures to it, a sign of relief clear on both of their faces. They sort of hustle over, and then one of them, the one who first pointed to it, like touches a different part of the city, and the map zooms in. And then they kind of start tracing with their finger to a different section of the city, presumably where you are currently.
Where are they trying to go?
I mean, you don't know the names of any places here in Barrow, so it doesn't mean much to you. You could try to get closer if you want.
I would like to take note of how they're dressed.
Okay.
How do people that look like they know where they're going dress in Barrow?
They just use the
Absolutely.
map. They don't know where they're going.
Yeah, but they look like they are of means.
They do look like they're of means. The fashions that you have seen at play here in Barrow so far are like a weird intersection of industrial and perhaps like Victorian. So most of the people that you've seen here in Bloodside, which you're now very close to leaving as you continue on your walk, have been wearing those same sort of jumpsuits, very functional looking, uniform like things. But even the people that you've seen around here who are not in those jumpsuits, like who are not working or who haven't just gotten off the clock recently, are still sort of dressed like, you know, people from an Oliver Twist movie. Like poor people from an Oliver Twist movie.
Gotcha.
These two undead who appear to be of means look more like they're from they they look more like they are from some kind of like vampire rave,
Like the opening
like
scene
you
of
would
Blade?
see in kind of, but more Victorian inspired. Like one of them is definitely wearing a cravat, but the rest of his outfit in this particular case is a very form-fitting leather suit.
Nice.
Sick.
And it's kind of similar for the woman who is accompanying him. Like she has a full-on bustle.
A bustle.
Bustle.
Dang. That's bougie.
Bustle.
Is it a leather bustle?
Oh my god.
It
Oh
is.
my God.
Yeah, for sure. Yep,
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay.
It is now.
Complete. Hell yeah.
Learning so much today.
Yeah, there's so much to learn.
Okay.
All right.
As you
Let's-
take this in, Wayne, you probably do also, as part of that, note it, like realize how out of place you look, all of you.
Oh yeah, of course.
To be honest, with the like red leather coat, Hunter is the closest to fitting in, but
Which is hilarious.
yeah, that is something to be aware of, probably. But the couple, if they are a couple, seem to find whatever information they are looking for and move along.
Quick, let's follow
Hold on.
I'm right behind Wayne.
him.
We honestly,
I call dibs on the bustle.
You would. That cravat's mine.
oh my god. Kelly watches them go for like half a second, and then she's like, you know what? And she looks at Hunter. She's like, we can just call him later.
That's true. Do you think they'll get into trouble?
Oh, most definitely 100%. But you know what? Definitely 150%. But you know what? At this point, if they're gonna get in trouble, at least they're not taking us down with them. So I'm gonna go try to work this map so I can find a faster way to get to where we're going. And I'm just gonna hope they come back.
And Hunter's gonna stay with Kelly, but just kind of keep glancing over towards where Max and Wayne went, just to see if they can catch any sight of what's happening over there.
I start to work the map, and I'm like, if you're really worried about it, you can just use the wyvern token and call them. But you know what? I'm not gonna fight them in their impulses. That'll be a bigger distraction.
And so for the first time ever, Hunter is going to activate and just be like, Max, get back here.
Hunter, no.
Max, come on.
What?
Yes, we'll be back. Wayne. Wayne.
Yeah, Wayne, you don't hear any of Hunter's parts, obviously, just Max, because Max is right next to you.
What? What are you talking
Wayne.
about?
Wayne, listen. We should go back.
That's a big 10-4 there, bud.
Just zooming in on the map, finding the
So
small...
you've decided.
Have we ever seen anything touchscreen before?
No.
No, this is a entirely fictitious magical technology.
You're just like...
Yeah. You're like, okay, I guess it's not exactly like our world.
It's like, all right, what the
It's
fuck?
better.
No! This is a horrible city!
Incredibly scientifically advanced.
I'm going to beat the shit out of you!
So you are abandoning your attempted attempt to jump this couple in an alley and steal their cravat
Okay, so
and bustle.
I'll leave that up to
I just wanted to see where they were going. Maybe there's a bus stop around here.
Do these
I don't
look
know,
like
I feel
people
like-
who would be on buses?
But here's the thing. Do these look like people who would go walking to where they want to get to?
It's a
Hey,
valid point
stop.
of investigation.
They turn the corner from where you were all standing at the map, and they walk for about one more block, passing storefronts. They stop and they are looking into some of the windows and chatting about stuff. You can't really overhear them, but they get about a block away and they just stop. They come to a dead stop, pun not intended, and start talking to each other. They face each other and they're having a conversation that they seem deeply involved in. And from the building above them, a monorail descends and just sort of climbs down the building itself. They don't even notice it. They don't turn to look at it. They don't even really acknowledge it. It winds around them, stops in the center of the street, and does the same thing that the one you took did, where it sinks down on its legs, and an opening appears for them to get on board. And without a second thought, they do so, and it closes behind them.
Okay.
Is there some sort of signifying thing on the wall or anything nearby that shows that like this is a monorail stop?
Not that you can tell from where you are.
Gotcha.
But Kelly, from where you are examining the map, the things that are moving on the map,
Mhm.
you realize at first maybe you thought that they were individual people and that maybe it was like a Marauders map situation where you could see everybody who's moving around the city. And then you realize there aren't nearly enough for that, considering how massive the city is. And you realize that what it is it's the monorails.
Mm. Okay. So can I find like a monorail stop that goes from closest to us to the... I don't know if you want me to roll like a perception or something for that to figure out which one takes us to
No,
the...
yeah. You can. After a few minutes of studying the map, it looks like you can see that there are several monorails that have gone to a spot that's just around the corner from you and then moved on. And as you study the map, you see one leave the factory district and head towards that spot.
I'm gonna point at it to Hunter, and I'm like, we want to get on that mechanically inclined bastard.
That'll take us where we want to go.
As close as I can figure. And then once we're there, we'll either have to stay looking like this, or depending on who we want to talk to, we might have to make ourselves look not undead if we want to have a hope and a prayer that anyone human can give us some feedback. All
That
right,
sounds
Right.
like a plan.
let's go
Okay.
round up.
You round the corner and you almost run into Max and Wayne, who are making their way back to you.
Wayne, you smell.
This is Mammoth to Chicklet. Chicklet, I think it's time to head on
Not
back.
Chicklet, dude.
You don't say it in your wrist, you just turn.
Breaks character to be offended by the codename Chicklet.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I thought it might be good to encrypt our names just in case someone was listening in on our comms. We both decided that Max's name is Chicklet.
It's
I
not
think-
Chicklet.
I
It's not Chicklet.
You guys can make your own names if you like. I thought I would go with Mammoth. Because
No,
it sounds
you're
cool.
Chicklet, dude. You're Chicklet.
I mean, I don't have an affiliation with birds, so if anyone was Chicklet here, it'd be you. Also, you're
They're
small and
ravens.
tiny and weak like a
Raven.
chicklet, so
They're bats right now.
oh yeah.
You know what? I'm going to trust in the fact that the comms are not hackable, given that we were told by the man who created them that they're not hackable, and I'm just going to stick with my name.
You can call me Mammoth though if you want.
If it makes you feel better.
Wait, will it even
Nice.
work if we use fake names?
Chicklet, this is Mammoth calling in. Chicklet, can you hear me? Guess we'll have to do
Max,
more
you hear
testing then. They're right next to him.
Because he's right next to you.
What a twist!
But Max, Max might jump to conclusions. Like, fuck, I heard that.
I didn't hear you, dude.
That's weird because you responded, so
Whatever.
Um,
Chicklet's not my name, dude.
So
Where are we going?
Yeah. As you are standing there and having this banter back and forth, Kelly, you look up and you see the mana rail descending the building, one block up.
That's where we gotta go. Come on. We gotta get on that one. And I'll just
You have to hustle to get there. Yeah, you have to hustle, but it stops in the middle of the street, similar to the one that you saw before, Wayne and Max. And the same sort of thing happens. It opens. Nobody really pays you any mind, or you get maybe some glances just because of how you're dressed, but nobody seems plussed about it. And similar to your experience with Mort, there is somebody on this mana rail at the front, but just kind of standing there, arms crossed. Seems like they're kind of barely paying attention.
just gonna act like, again, just act like you know what we're doing and just get on the
Yeah.
the bus. On the
And yeah,
monorail,
you do.
Monorail.
You get on. Yeah, you get on the mana rail, and it starts scaling the building again. And as it does so, in the upper levels, there are platforms that connect these towers at various heights. Sometimes they are the width of like whole towns in the rest of the kingdom. Sometimes they are very thin walkways. But they're all graded. They're all sort of perforated with holes. And as you ride this mana rail, you understand why. As it moves across them and sometimes upside down across them, sometimes winding around them, the black metal legs use those gaps to find purchase.
Mm.
So you are moving across the city in one of these terrible subway centipedes. And in much shorter order than it would have been walking there, which would have taken days. Presumably, though there are no windows visible really, you arrive in the factory district. I think the only thing you really see, Kelly, a glimpse out the front as it begins its descent, are rows of these squat buildings
Mhm.
that are all too familiar to you. And they're all sort of spewing smoke out of stacks, chimney stacks. But the smoke is different colors. You can see one that's black, one that's bright blue, one that's a pinkish color. And that's really the only glimpse you get until the monorail comes to a stop and the door, the circular portal, sort of shifts open again, letting you out.
Just get up off the bench, step out, try not to look at anyone, like, try not to attract attention, just
Absolutely.
step out, walk a
You
little
stand
bit
yeah.
away.
Mm.
As you stand up, you hear a whistle blow. And the whistle, like so much of what you were seeing here, is all too familiar to you. It means there's a shift change happening, which you would know means that the prior shift, whoever is about to be relieved, was probably on the verge of collapse. Whether it's through sleep deprivation or starvation, you don't know. But that's very typical for human living workers in Barrow. Shift changes don't really happen at regular intervals. It's whenever people start to collapse. And you exit, you leave the monorail behind right as a group of workers are being funneled out of one of the factories directly across from where this monorail has stopped. And as they move past you, you see a lot of gaunt and emaciated but unmistakably living people. Their eyes are, for the most part, very sort of empty and very haunted looking, although they are firmly directed at the ground. Nobody really looks up. Everybody very studiously avoids looking at you or any of the other undead who happen to be around at that moment. Until Kelly, you make eye contact with one person amidst all the workers who is not bowing his head or looking at the ground. And while he is dirty and tired looking, you unmistakably recognize the face of Edmund Vers. And though he hides it quickly, you see a spark of recognition in his eyes, followed by confusion, and then a sort of deep sadness before he quickly looks away.
Kelly just
And the work shift shuffles off, leaving you standing there.
Kelly is 100% doing her best to not lose it, to not just like yell out. And so she kind of just like stands there and kind of like watches where the shift goes, like which where they head. And she's just like, so this is it. Welcome to where all of your magic items are made.
And on that note, I think we're going to call it. Yeah, welcome to Barrow, everybody. Welcome to Magic Capitalism.
It's
Oh my God,
awful.
it is magic capitalism.
It's
It is. It's pretty bad.
awful. My buddy's gonna have
Mana
a hard
rails are-
time talking to me.
Mana rails are pretty cool, though. Those are pretty
Yeah,
cool.
mana
and
rails are
convenient.
Spark the
Dude.
revolution. Those mana rails are awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything
City's
else.
Awesome. We're gonna spark the
Pretty
revolution.
Pretty cool place, honestly.
Dude,
Kind of a cool place to live if you want to like settle down here.
not
Yeah.
a bad place to
No!
live.
We've got like a year, right?
I prefer the
year.
hardwood. I want to be back in the forest. I am done with this shit.
The second Kelly suspects that Wayne or Max are going native, are like buying into this too much, she is taking them into an alley and beating the ever-loving shit out of them. The second she suspects.
Imagine
It's go
Gritsky
time.
with the mana rails and the like.
That's what I was
lights and
thinking.
stuff.
What
I
a
mean-
huge populace that haven't even heard of Gritsky yet. You know,
Yeah.
These are horrible
So
conditions and horrible people, and you are not to be sympathizing with them.
you're right.
that is the interesting thing about Barrow, though, right? Is even though it is such a clearly horrible place, it's also the place you've been that is the most like home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kelly, here's the thing, Kelly recognizes that. Kelly's recognized that for a while from being in here before. It's not a good thing.
Hmm.
If anything, it's like all the
it's-
worst parts of home.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, they have a
Yeah,
very
Max.
green
Yeah.
public transportation system. But
Yeah,
that's all
I
I'll
don't know about that.
I
Is
prefer
it
horses.
Not my home.
say. Yeah, but also Steph makes a good point. It has been a while since the last riot
It's
in this
been a
game.
while.
So
Fair.
due for another one.
We're due for another riot.
All right.
More leading.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight for another exciting episode of Class Reunion. We have hit the meat of Barrow at this point. You have left the slums behind and you are in the city proper. And now you can begin your search for Ryan. You can begin your search for Eddie. Now there is Edmund in the mix. That's pretty crazy. Who saw that coming? But yeah, lots to go off of. Thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out. If you chatted, if you followed us, if you donated, if you've never seen us before, or if you've seen us a lot, we appreciate you so much, as always. Thank you so much. We have tomorrow night. This is our D&D week. I realized that all of our D&D games happen in the same week. That's fun. Sunday was Veil Breakers, as we said at the beginning. Tomorrow night is Mercy of Time, and then with this one, those are our 3 5e campaigns. So join us tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. because our GM is on the West Coast for Mercy of Time. It's a good time. We're in a city. There's a fireball in the sky. We're trying to leave the city behind and go anywhere else. And yeah, Mercy of Time tomorrow night, and then we won't be back again until Sunday when we have Session 2 of Academy H, which is our Masks campaign that Julia and JD are also in. Join us for that at 6 p.m. Eastern. That is a really good time. We had a good first session, and things are only going to get better from here. Hopefully, fingers crossed, the first episode will be out in podcast form before the second session on Sunday. I am deep in the editing process. Hopefully it will be done in time. But if not, the VOD is up and you can check that out if you want to. But on that note, yeah, if you want to keep up with us and what we're doing, you can follow us on Twitter. You can join our Discord community, which is a great place, full of lots of great people. Feel free to come in, hang out, stay as long as you want, make yourself comfortable. Is that everything? I think that's everything. Once again, we are live from the apocalypse. We do this for nonprofits, aid organizations, charitable causes, just trying to make this hellscape a little bit better, and we couldn't do it without
Sparrow
you.
IRL.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Dark moment to end
Whoa.
on.
Yeah, it was Barrow the whole time.
Oh no.
On that note, say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Good night, everybody. We love you. You're wonderful. Thank you so much. Have a good night.